There comes a moment in every seeker's life when the ordinary world suddenly feels layered with hidden meaning. A repeating number glows on a clock. A random thought appears and minutes later reality echoes it back. A stranger says something you were just thinking about, or a symbol keeps resurfacing in unexpected places. And in these quiet, intimate moments, a soft question rises within you. Is this really coincidence, or is something trying to reach me? This is where your journey begins, not in the loud, dramatic turning points of life, but in the small, delicate nudges that feel like whispers from a world just beyond your logical mind. You notice something, you feel something, and even if you can't articulate it, a subtle awareness forms. I think the universe is speaking to me. Most people brush these moments away. They label them random, accidental, weird but meaningless. That's the conditioned lens we're taught to use, the lens of the old self. But the fact that you are here, listening, suggests that a different part of you is waking up. A quiet, intuitive part. A part that doesn't dismiss what it senses. A part that knows, even if it can't explain, that there is a deeper rhythm woven into your life. You might not realize it yet, but noticing synchronicities is one of the first signs that your awareness is expanding. Before anything in your external reality changes, the shift starts inside you. It starts with perception, with sensitivity, with small glimpses of order within the chaos. And usually this awakening begins at the edges of your life, during moments when you are questioning yourself, transitioning from one identity to the next, or sensing that something needs to shift but can't quite define what. Think back to the first synchronicity you ever noticed. Maybe it was subtle, a number pattern, a name you kept hearing, a thought that materialized in real time. It didn't change your life in that moment, but it made you pause, made you wonder. And that pause was important. It created space for something new to enter. A feeling, a curiosity, a possibility that your life might be guided in ways you weren't taught to believe. In this opening space, the contrast between your old self and your emerging self becomes clear. The old self needs certainty, evidence, proof, something tangible to confirm that what you're feeling is real. It clings to logic, fearing that believing in signs makes you naive. But the emerging self has a different kind of intelligence. It's intuitive, perceptive, and deeply connected. It recognizes that life communicates in patterns, energy, emotion, and resonance. It doesn't ask for proof because it already feels the truth. And so, as synchronicities intensify in your life, you are standing at the threshold between these two versions of yourself. On one side is the self that believes it must figure everything out alone. On the other side is the self that is beginning to trust that life is interacting with you, guiding you, and responding to your inner state. This script is here to help you understand that transition. It's here to help you decode what synchronicities really are, why they appear when they do, and what the universe is trying to tell you through them. Because once you understand how these signs work, you'll see that they're not random encouragements. They are part of a much larger conversation happening beneath the surface of your everyday life. But before we dive into the mechanics of synchronicities, it's important to acknowledge where you are right now, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. You may be feeling stuck in certain areas of your life, uncertain about your next step, or questioning whether you're on the right path. Synchronicities often appear most strongly during these moments of internal tension, not to confuse you but to gently guide you. They are breadcrumbs leading you from the reality you've outgrown to the reality you're meant to step into. And if you've been seeing signs more frequently lately, it's not random. It's a sign that something in your energy is shifting, that your frequency is rising, that you're becoming more aligned with a version of yourself that your old identity couldn't access. Think of synchronicities as reflections, mirrors that show you the state of your inner world by arranging patterns in your outer world. The universe never forces a message. It doesn't shout. It always whispers first. And only when you begin to listen do the whispers become clearer, stronger, more precise. This is why your presence here matters. This is why your curiosity matters. Because you are beginning to teach your consciousness to listen, to observe, to notice, to feel beyond the surface. As you move deeper into this journey, you'll discover that synchronicities are not external messages alone. They are energetic feedback loops. They are confirmations that your internal world is syncing with a higher order of reality. They are signs that you are stepping into alignment with your true path. And the more you acknowledge them, the more clearly they appear. This introduction is simply the opening of a doorway. By the end of this script, you'll understand not just what synchronicities mean, but why they've been showing up so powerfully in your life. And more importantly, you'll understand what the universe is preparing you for. To understand why synchronicities show up, you first have to recognize that reality is not as random or disconnected as it seems. What you call life is not just a sequence of events happening to you, It is a subtle architecture of energy, intention, and consciousness weaving itself through every moment. And within that architecture, synchronicities operate like signals, small activations that reveal the hidden order beneath what looks like chaos. Most people never notice the structure because they move through the world in a state of mental noise. Their attention is scattered, their senses dulled by routine, and their frequency weighed down by old beliefs. But the moment you begin waking up, your perception changes. You start seeing links where you once saw coincidences. You sense timing where you once saw luck. You feel guidance where you once felt alone. This shift in perception is not imagination. It is awareness tuning itself to a deeper layer of reality that has always been there. Imagine that your reality is composed of multiple layers. On the surface, there is physical life. Tasks, responsibilities, distractions, people moving through their own roles. Beneath that is the emotional layer, how you feel, how you react, the stories you tell yourself. And even deeper is an energetic layer, a kind of vibrational blueprint that shapes what you attract, what you notice, and what you become sensitive to. Synchronicities originate from this deeper layer. They are not random events. They are reflections of the internal shifts happening inside you. In simple terms, when your inner world changes, the outer world responds. But the response is not always dramatic. Sometimes it arrives gently through patterns, symbols, numbers, encounters, or unlikely alignments. Each sign is like a ripple from the inner layers reaching the surface of your physical life, signaling that something within you is recalibrating. If you look closely, synchronicities tend to intensify when you are undergoing internal transformation, whether you realize it or not. When you are questioning old beliefs, when you are healing, when you are letting go of certain identities, when you are preparing for a new chapter, your energy shifts. And because reality is deeply responsive to your internal frequency, it begins rearranging itself around that shift. This is why signs become more frequent during transitional periods. Your energy is moving, so the universe moves with it. Most people misunderstand synchronicities because they analyze them through logic instead of perception. They look at the event itself rather than the energy behind it. But the meaning of a synchronicity is not in the sign. It is in the timing. Why did it show up now? What state were you in? What were you thinking or feeling in that moment? The architecture of synchronicity is built on resonance. Something inside you emits a signal, through desire, clarity, longing, intention, or emotional shift, and the external world mirrors it back in symbolic form. It's not magic. It's alignment. Think of your consciousness as a broadcasting station. Whatever you broadcast, through your beliefs, emotions, intentions, doubts, and desires, radiates outward into the energetic field around you. The universe doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your frequency. And synchronicities are some of the earliest signs that your broadcast has changed. For years, your inner and outer world may have been mismatched. Your thoughts pulled you one direction while your fears pulled you another. Your desires aimed high but your identity stayed small. In that misalignment, synchronicities remain faint or inconsistent. But the moment your identity begins catching up to your desires, when you start seeing yourself differently, believing differently, wanting differently, the signals strengthen. It's like adjusting a radio until the static clears and the message becomes recognizable. This hidden architecture also explains why synchronicities often appear before a major shift happens. They are precursors. Indicators that the reality you've been living is starting to dissolve, and a new timeline is preparing to take form. It's the universe saying, stay aware. You're entering a new frequency. Think of it like walking into a room where music is playing faintly. At first, you barely notice it. But as you walk deeper into the room, the sound becomes clearer. Synchronicities are that rising volume, the universe drawing your attention closer to something important. Most people assume that the universe sends signs to give instructions, but more often, it sends signs to reveal alignment. Synchronicities show up when your inner world and outer world begin to synchronize. That synchronization happens when your thoughts, emotions, intuition, and energy point in the same direction. When you're scattered or conflicted, signs are weaker because your signal is weaker. But when your clarity strengthens, the signs become unmistakable. This is why people often notice synchronicities during spiritual awakening, because awakening is what realignment feels like from the inside. You become more present, more aware, more receptive. Your internal frequency rises as you let go of old identity patterns, fear patterns, scarcity patterns, shame patterns, self-doubt patterns. And as those patterns dissolve, your energy becomes clearer. That clarity naturally attracts synchronicities. The architecture of synchronicity is also deeply connected to intuition. Intuition is not a random feeling. It is your consciousness interpreting energetic information before your mind understands it. Synchronicities often confirm what your intuition already sensed. They are like external echoes of your internal knowing. When you're moving towards something aligned, the universe reinforces it through signs. When you're drifting away from your path, synchronicities fade. And during moments of confusion or crossroads, synchronicities pulse softly, reminding you to trust the deeper intelligence operating beneath the surface. Another layer of this hidden architecture is timing. Synchronicities do not happen too early or too late. They happen at the exact moment when your awareness is ready to receive them. The universe never wastes energy. If a sign appears, it appears with purpose. If a pattern repeats, it repeats because you're meant to notice. And if messages become louder, it's because your soul is calling you towards something your mind has not yet fully embraced. Understanding the structure behind synchronicities changes everything. You stop chasing signs and start understanding them. You stop overanalyzing and start listening. You stop seeing life as random and begin to recognize the intelligence flowing through it. This deeper awareness prepares you for the next step, decoding what the universe is actually saying through these signs and how each synchronicity is guiding you toward a more aligned version of yourself. This is the point where the journey becomes not just introspective but transformative. The signs are not the destination. They are the indicators that the real shift is happening within you. Now that you understand the hidden architecture behind synchronicities and why they appear, it's time to look closely at what the universe is actually trying to communicate. These signs are not random nudges. They are coded messages, reflections of your inner world appearing in your external reality. When you begin to pay attention, patterns emerge, and each pattern has a language, a vibration, a meaning that can guide you toward a more aligned version of yourself. The universe does not speak through words as humans do. It speaks through resonance, repetition, timing, and symbolism. Learning to interpret these signals is like learning a language that exists between your consciousness and the consciousness of life itself. One of the most common forms of synchronicity is repeated numbers. Perhaps you notice 111, 222, 333, or 444 appearing on clocks, receipts, or addresses. At first glance, they might seem like coincidences. But the frequency of their appearance is not random. Numbers are a symbolic system the universe uses to communicate alignment. 111 often signals that your thoughts are manifesting quickly and that you are entering a period of creation, an opportunity to consciously focus on what you want to bring into reality. 222 reminds you of balance and patience, a nudge to trust the process rather than force outcomes. 333 often appears when your spiritual guides or inner wisdom are near, inviting you to listen more closely to your intuition. 444 is a sign of protection, signaling that you are supported and on the right path. When you begin to see these numbers repeatedly, it is not just coincidence, it is a mirror of your internal state, amplified and reflected back to you by the universe. Synchronicities also appear as repeated symbols or themes. You may see birds, butterflies, feathers, or specific colors appearing at pivotal moments. Each symbol carries meaning based on both universal archetypes and your personal associations. A butterfly, for instance, is often a messenger of transformation and growth, appearing when a stage of your life is ending and a new one is beginning. A white feather might signal divine support or reassurance, while a recurring color could indicate an energetic alignment with specific emotions or desires. These symbols are gentle, persistent ways that life communicates that you are aligned with your inner truth or being called to notice something important. Chance encounters are another form of synchronicity that often carries profound messages. Perhaps you run into an old friend right when you were thinking of them, or you meet someone who provides the exact insight you needed. These encounters are rarely accidents. They are orchestrated moments in which the universe brings people or situations into your field to teach, guide, or confirm. Each encounter is a reflection of your current energetic state and serves as a mirror, showing you what you are attracting and where your attention has been focused. The timing of these encounters is never random. It aligns perfectly with your readiness to receive guidance, answer a question, or make a shift in perception. Emotional déjà vu is another form of synchronicity that often goes unnoticed. You may have felt a certain way and soon after, the external world mirrors that feeling back to you, through events, conversations, or even news. This is a subtle but powerful signal that your energy is interacting with reality in real time. Your internal emotional state is creating ripples, and the universe is echoing them back to you in tangible ways. These moments invite you to pay attention to your feelings, to understand how your inner frequency is shaping your external experience, and to notice where shifts may be required to align more fully with your higher self. The universe also uses contrast as a teaching mechanism in synchronicities. Sometimes, a sign appears not to reinforce alignment, but to highlight misalignment. You may repeatedly notice obstacles, delays, or conflicting messages in the same area of life. These are not punishments, they are reflective. They are signs that something in your inner world is resisting clarity, that fears, doubts, or old patterns are blocking your alignment. In this way, synchronicities serve both as confirmation and as correction. They celebrate your growth when you are aligned, and they reveal what requires attention when you are not. Paying attention to contrast helps you distinguish between signals that guide you forward and signals that reveal where inner work is needed. Repeated themes often appear as patterns in timing and sequence as well. Perhaps you consistently see similar phrases in books, lyrics, or conversations, or experience recurring scenarios that echo a hidden truth. These recurring patterns are the universe's way of pointing you toward insight you might have overlooked. When you notice repetition, it is not coincidence, it is an invitation to reflect, to pause, and to ask, what is this pattern trying to show me? What am I ready to learn? By observing these repetitions with intention, you begin to uncover the subtle logic of synchronicity and recognize the messages your higher self is already aware of. Synchronicities also carry an energetic confirmation of your inner alignment. For instance, when you make a choice from clarity, intuition, or love, you may notice small but undeniable confirmations. A parking spot opens exactly when you need it, someone provides the perfect advice, or a solution arrives in unexpected ways. These confirmations act as feedback loops. They reassure you that your thoughts, feelings, and actions are resonating with your desired reality. Conversely, if confusion or fear dominates, synchronicities may appear as repeated obstacles, miscommunications, or misaligned events. By observing these patterns, you learn to fine-tune your energy, understanding that the universe responds not just to desire, but to the alignment of your entire being. Another crucial aspect is the feeling behind synchronicities. Often, the universe communicates not through literal interpretation but through the emotional resonance a sign creates. When you notice a repeated number, encounter, or symbol, pay attention to how it makes you feel. Once you have learned to notice synchronicities and understand the messages they carry, the next step is learning how to respond to them. Observing signs is one thing, but responding consciously is where transformation begins. The universe does not just offer guidance, it invites collaboration. Each synchronicity is an opportunity to actively shape your reality, to align your inner state with the life you wish to create, and to participate in the dance of co-creation that exists between you and the field of all possibility. The subtle power lies in the way you acknowledge, interpret, and act upon these signs. Ignoring them or dismissing them keeps you in habitual patterns. Engaging with them intentionally begins a new rhythm of life. The first step in responding is awareness. Pay attention to the moments when patterns emerge. Notice the repeated numbers, recurring symbols, or uncanny coincidences, and observe how they make you feel. Ask yourself, what am I sensing? What is this sign pointing me toward? Awareness is the key that opens the door between passive observation and active engagement. Without awareness, synchronicities remain whispers. With awareness, they become clear guidance. The universe is always speaking, but it requires a receptive consciousness to interpret its language. By tuning into this subtle dialogue, you begin to notice not only the signs but the underlying energetic currents that shape your experiences. Next comes reflection. Every synchronicity carries a message relevant to your current state of being. Take the time to reflect on what these signs might mean in the context of your thoughts, emotions, desires, and actions. If a number, symbol, or encounter resonates deeply, ask yourself why. What part of you is aligned with this sign, and what part of you may still be resisting it? Reflection is the process of translating the symbolic language of the universe into practical insight. It is through this process that synchronicities transform from passive observations into active guidance. The key is to approach this reflection without judgment, without forcing meaning, and without attachment. Simply allow the signs to reveal themselves naturally and notice the patterns that emerge. The third step is alignment. Synchronicities often appear to show you where your energy is aligned, or misaligned, with your desired reality. Once you recognize the pattern, the next step is to consciously align yourself with the message. This may involve adjusting your thoughts, releasing limiting beliefs, or shifting your emotional state. For instance, if you notice repeated signs pointing toward abundance, yet you feel fear or lack internally, it is a signal to work on that internal state first. Aligning with the energy of the message is not about forcing outcomes. It is about matching the frequency of the reality you wish to inhabit. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner alignment, and synchronicities are the markers that help you calibrate this energetic resonance. Intention is another essential component. Once you are aware of a synchronicity and have reflected on its meaning, Set clear intentions based on the guidance you are receiving. Intentions do not have to be rigid or controlling. They are simply declarations of conscious participation in your own life. When your intention aligns with the underlying message of a synchronicity, you create a powerful feedback loop. The universe responds not to casual wishes, but to focused, intentional energy. Acting on intention transforms synchronicities from passive signs into catalysts for active manifestation, accelerating the alignment between your inner world and your outer experience. Action is the final, and often most overlooked, step. Synchronicities are not merely signals to observe, they are invitations to move. Once you feel guided, take inspired action in alignment with the messages you are receiving. The action does not need to be grand or dramatic. It can be as simple as making a choice, shifting your attention, or opening yourself to a new perspective. What matters is that your behavior reflects your conscious participation in the process. Action creates movement in the energetic field, confirming to the universe that you are co-creating rather than passively observing. Even small steps taken consistently in alignment with guidance will compound over time, producing noticeable shifts in reality. Another practical technique is cultivating perceptual sensitivity. Begin each day with moments of quiet awareness. Meditation, journaling, or simply observing your environment with intent. Ask yourself to notice patterns, symbols, or messages that appear throughout the day. Keep a synchronicity journal to record experiences, feelings, and insights. Over time, you will begin to notice subtle trends and correlations that reveal the underlying order of your reality. This practice not only strengthens your ability to receive guidance but also trains your mind to trust its own intuition, reinforcing the feedback loop between internal awareness and external manifestation. Patience is also essential in working with synchronicities. Signs may appear subtly at first, and their meaning may not be immediately clear. The universe communicates according to its own timing, which may differ from your sense of urgency. Learn to trust the process. Recognize that synchronicities are not meant to rush you, but to guide you at the pace that allows for sustainable transformation. By cultivating patience, you allow yourself to receive deeper wisdom, making your responses more intuitive, thoughtful, and aligned. It is also important to integrate the lessons from synchronicities into daily life. Awareness, reflection, alignment, intention, and action are not isolated practices. They are part of a holistic approach to co-creating your reality. As you integrate this process, you notice that the frequency of synchronicities increases, patterns become more obvious, and your sense of guidance strengthens. Life begins to feel less random and more orchestrated, a mirror reflecting your inner evolution in every interaction, every event, and every encounter. As we come to the close of this journey, take a moment to reflect on what you have discovered. Synchronicities are not random coincidences, nor are they mere curiosities to be admired from afar. They are the universe's subtle language, the quiet dialogue between your inner self and the world around you. Each repeated number, each unexpected encounter, each symbol or pattern that appears is a gentle whisper, a nudge, an invitation to align more deeply with the truth of who you are. They are reflections of your inner state, echoes of your frequency, and confirmations of your readiness to step into a higher version of yourself. The signs you have been noticing were never meant to be fleeting. They were meant to awaken a deeper awareness, to show you that life is intelligent, responsive, and alive. They were designed to help you see the contrast between the old self, the part of you that clings to logic, fear, and limitation, and the emerging self, the part that is open, intuitive, and aligned. The beauty of synchronicities is that they exist in both spaces simultaneously. They reveal what is ready to be released while illuminating the path forward. They remind you that the universe is not separate from you, but a mirror of your consciousness, waiting for you to recognize your own power and presence. Now that you have learned to notice, reflect, and respond, the journey becomes one of conscious co-creation. Life transforms when you step into alignment, when your actions, thoughts, and feelings resonate with the messages being offered to you. Each synchronicity becomes a guidepost, pointing you toward clarity, purpose, and the fulfillment of your higher potential. You begin to see the subtle orchestration behind events, the intricate dance between your inner world and outer reality. With every sign you acknowledge and act upon, your reality shifts, sometimes in profound ways, sometimes in quiet, gentle waves, but always moving you toward the life you were meant to live. It is important to carry this awareness into your daily life. Remain present to the moments that may have once gone unnoticed, and approach them with curiosity and openness. Trust your intuition, honor the guidance you receive, and remember that timing is divine. The universe is patient, always waiting for your awareness to catch up to the messages it sends. Synchronicities are never about rushing or forcing outcomes. They are about recognizing the flow and moving gracefully with it, like a dance between your conscious intention and life's unfolding. Ultimately, the most profound lesson is trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the process, and trust in the intelligence of life itself. Synchronicities are the breadcrumbs that lead you back to your own alignment, reminding you that you are never alone, that guidance is always available, and that every sign, no matter how small, carries the potential to awaken a new level of understanding. Life is speaking to you constantly if only you are willing to listen. And as you continue to notice, reflect, align, and act, you will find that the whispers grow louder, the signs clearer, and the path ahead unmistakably illuminated. Step forward with this awareness. Let the synchronicities be your companions, your mirrors, and your teachers. Embrace the journey of conscious alignment, and allow yourself to move into a reality shaped not by chance, but by the resonance of your own awakening. Your reality is not separate from your consciousness. It is an unfolding reflection of your growth, your clarity, and your willingness to listen. The universe is speaking. You are ready to hear.